Hello and welcome back to Shining Force 2. Here we are, fighting this battle, which we stopped for last time. So after a long journey through Parmecia, we finally returned home. We found out a whole bunch of things about how, like, the King of the Devils, Zayon, he was sealed in a place called Ark Valley, but it's been released, and he's like, he hasn't regained his full power yet, but his devils are plaguing the world, and naturally we have to stop him. So we have to get to Northern Parmecia, and to do that we have to use a cannon to shoot dynamite at a rock fall blocking a tunnel. And to get to that, we have to defeat all these monsters, who are just hanging out here for some reason. Man, that hyper cannon is pretty darn strong. It like shoots lasers. That's pretty crazy. Heal 3 has really good range, gotta say. Very useful. Oh, and so heal 3 upgrades to 2 fairies at the same time. I like it. The heal 1 and 2 is just 1 fairy. Oh, I wish it gave more exp considering it costs more. This sniper is quite dangerous for our flying allies, so we want to get rid of him. Although, they do seem to have boosted damage towards flyers, but it's not as extreme, evidently, as in Fire Emblem, where, like, letting an archer anywhere near your flyers is basically death. Oh, I guess that's why there's a weird splodge of green in her map sprite, because she has a green hood. We have 2 healers now, so I'm just gonna, you know, whichever one of them is not healing for actually useful purposes, I'll just have them just heal for no reason to keep getting XP. We'll level them up nicely because once we get them to level 40, and yeah, that archer outfit looks just as stupid in pink as it did in green. It's just a stupid outfit. But anyway, once we get them up to level 40, and they're at the cap before promotion, we can use the Vigor Balls to turn them into Master Monks. I'm very excited for them to be Master Monks, because then not only will they be useful as healers, they'll also be really good in combat. Because having 2 healers is a little tough because they don't do a lot of damage, right? So there is some lost DPS there. But once they're Master Monks, that'll no longer be the case. And our party will be so strong. We'll get some level ups here, that's good. Yeah, we're actually able to promote right now. I just want to wait until everyone reaches the cap so they can be as strong as possible. I always do this in Fire Emblem as well. Efficiency is not something I'm interested in. I'm here to just try and level everyone up as close to max as possible. That is my gameplay style. And this will probably be the last episode for today because, you know, after 40 minutes-ish, I'll have to take the wash out of the dryer, start hanging things up. I actually have, like, a ton of stuff to do today because I'm leaving on a trip over the weekend. Like, I'm taking Thursday and Friday off and going home, so I'm traveling tomorrow. So I have to pack some stuff up, I have to do a bunch of laundry, I need to cook because I have, like, some lettuce and stuff in my fridge that's, you know, it's gonna go bad if I leave it there for another 5 days, so I'm like, oh, I gotta cook something with it. It's quite a bit that has to get done. And I do want to, I don't, like, have to clean the kitchen floor, I guess. It's not like the house will collapse if I don't, but I do want to squeeze that in because it's getting a little grimy. Be nice to have that squared away. So it's like, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of things I need to do. But, you know, since I have to be doing laundry anyway, and like, there wouldn't be time to cook anything between laundry gathering sessions, or like, you know, individual moments of that task. And even though I could clean the kitchen floor, that is a low priority task, so I'm like, I may as well record at least a few videos while I'm working on laundry. This is a fairly time-intensive hobby, so gotta squeeze it in where I can. Yes, probably be today's last. It works out nicely because at the end of this episode, the save state I will make will just fill all of the save states. I realize it's kind of like, you might think, why do you need the save state at the end of this one? Because when you start the next one, you'll be right back here. But, I will probably be playing other games between now and the time I start the next one. Because obviously while I'm traveling, I'm not going to be playing, but I will have my Switch with me, and we'll probably play some games. So that way I can get back to this point again. So I'll have the exact... Sorry. I'm a little tired now. I'll have the exact right number of videos. Or save slots, rather. The 3 videos at a time, around half an hour in length, seems to work pretty well because of the 4 save slots. If I wanted to do more than that, basically I would just have to stop and check that the videos, they're all, you know, the audio and video quality is fine. In case I need to re-record anything. Oh, I think Slade's dead here. He is a bit fragile, I will say. He's very strong, but he's fragile. Also, these skeletons are pretty powerful. Well, let's just see if we can finish the map without him. You know, we have a large party. It's fine. It's early enough I could start it over, but I'm like, I don't want to, though. This battle isn't that interesting, so I just want to finish it. This is a different battle, but it's on the same map as a battle we fought previously, back when we first got to Parmecia. And I had to do that battle, like, 3 times or so, I think. It was 2 or 3 times because the recording fucked up, and then it fucked up again. So I had to redo it multiple times. And it wasn't an interesting or fun battle to begin with. The map is a little boring, and you just sort of trudge around it, which is irritating. And now we have to come back here and fight it again, so I have 0 enthusiasm for this battle. I just want to finish it so we can use the cannon. I'm just like, come on, let me just dynamite things. That's why I'm here. Killing this bishop is gonna suck because, you know, he's got decent HP and defense. And also he can heal. And he can heal the other monsters too, so it's like, argh. Just gotta try and slaughter him. The enemy healers are always so annoying. They're just very hard to get rid of. Like, they're not that dangerous to you, but they just waste all your hard work in whittling down other enemies. So they are truly an annoyance. This is liable to be a bit of a slow battle, just because the map doesn't lend itself to you sort of progressing through all that quickly. There's some dead zones, so... There's a lot of forests and stuff, so there's just some boring sections. I guess that's fine, though. We can do this battle and then set off the cannon, and then it'll be time to put some shirts in the closet for me. Okay. Yeah, see, now that he has the power ring, even with the spear equipped, he still has a decent amount of attack. Because that's always a challenge for the knights, is that the 2 ranged weapons are really useful to have, just for situations like that, where he couldn't get in melee with him, but they do lower your attack, obviously, so very nice to have the power ring to help compensate for that. Even though, truth be told, I really wanted to give it to Luke. Just because I really like all of the flying characters, and I just wanted to, I would really enjoy having him be a bit stronger so I could just destroy enemies from the sky, but because his attack is falling behind a little. It's not quite good enough. Alright, Janet, kill this guy. Man, the archer outfits are really stupid. In the previous game, they were cool looking. They're really dumb in this one. It's a major disappointment. Some of the outfits are better, but that one is not. Gotta say, this is also true of the wizard outfit. I think the one from the first game is cooler. I think that little, you know, the little pointy wizard hat, I think it's very stylish. I like it a lot. It's iconic. Alrighty. Oh yeah, thinking of the one from the first game, this made me think of it mainly because Sword of Asia. I don't know whether this is the case for the first Gaiden game. I haven't played it. I've only played the second one. I think it's also the first one though. It has the same art style as the original Shining Force game, so this made me think of it. I am still planning to record that one also, and I recently ended up buying a Switch Pro controller. Not the wireless one. See, I never bought the wireless one because it's so friggin' expensive. It's like 60 bucks. Actually, I think it's normally 70 bucks. I saw it on sale one time, and it was still just like exorbitant. Which I understand. It's a wireless controller. It's, you know, a fairly expensive piece of hardware. But it's hard for me to shell out for it when I'm like, I could get an entire game for that much. But what I did not know until I saw one in the store is that the wired controllers, the ones you plug in, are a lot cheaper, 25 bucks, which is not nearly as bad. Obviously, it's still a fair chunk of change, but I was like, that's not bad, and they can also be used as Steam controllers, or with any emulator on your computer that can take controller input. So I was like, well, this will be, even if I don't necessarily use it that much for Switch games, it'll be quite useful, because honestly with the Switch so far, I've had no real complaints about the Joy-Cons. Most of the games I play are turn-based stuff like this, where you don't need like a lot of like precision or speed or anything. They just, you can take as long as you want to press the buttons or whatever. I played through Breath of the Wild as well, and I had no complaints with them. I played that mostly in handheld mode also, where obviously you're using the Joy-Cons, they're plugged into the sides of the system, so I love handheld mode a lot. I'm more of a handheld gamer, really. But what I was thinking was that even if I don't use them that much with the Switch, they'll be quite good to have for my laptop. And, you know, I'll probably use them for a couple of games on the Switch, so I was like, it'll be useful enough to be worth it. So I did get one. So that should be, will maybe be nice for playing the Gaiden games. Because, like, aw, man, Luke, your defenses are low. We may end up playing this battle twice. I don't know. But yeah, even though obviously you don't have to have a controller for these games, you could easily play them on an emulator with just the keyboard. It could be nice to have the controller. Like, I think it'll be a little more... It'll put less strain on my wrists. The wrist position necessary when I have my laptop, like, on my lap and I'm, you know, using it to have the hands on the keyboard properly for these games is a little uncomfortable. It'll get some wrist strain after a while. So that could be fun. I'll have the controller for that. I'll also have it if I ever actually go back and finish Final Fantasy 13-2, which I got like partway through, and there's just so much to that game, like all the side quests and stuff. I got to like Academia, the Dark Future section, and it was just so involved, and also I kept getting lost because the map is very complicated, so I took a break from it for a while, and a break that has lasted 5 years? I kept meaning to go back to it. The other issue with it was, at the time, 5 years ago, oops, got to drop my controller, I had a different laptop than I did now. I've since replaced it, and that laptop was, I can only assume, a little bit crappy because every time I played that game, the laptop would rapidly start to overheat, and after between 1 and 2 hours of playing Final Fantasy 13-2, the game would just crash because the laptop would get too hot and it couldn't handle it anymore. So I have since replaced my laptop, and the one I have now is a bit more powerful, so I am like, I should go back and get into it again because I might actually be able to play it for longer. It was sort of hard to get into the game when, like, you know, RPGs take a while, right? So, you know, you're playing for an extended session, and I'd get like an hour and a half in and be in the middle of a boss fight or something and it would crash. Especially since that game doesn't, as far as I've been able to find on the Steam version, have any way to get rid of certain graphical effects, and I think what was really killing my computer was like particle effects and stuff. That's a really interesting dodge animation for the skeleton. It like collapsed into just a pile of bones. Weird. And man, one of the boss fights was really just like destroying my computer because it had a lot of like, every time the boss didn't move, there was like a cloud of like colorful, shiny vapor, and there was water effects and things going around. So my computer was not liking that at the time. So perhaps if I went back now, I would actually be able to play it. And the controller would be really nice for that because playing that game on keyboard kind of sucked. It was just constant hand... I played through 13 as well. And that game also, it was just like endless hand strain. Because of the fact that you need to be able to switch between paradigms, and so you have to like be able to hit a couple different key combinations. And it's an ATB system, so you need to do it quickly, so you're like constantly reaching between two spots on the keyboard. It was a little difficult. Because I was using tab for the paradigm switch, and it was just a bit of a stretch to get my hand over there. Whereas on the controller, you'd be using one of the shoulder buttons, you know? So that is obviously way easier. You can have your thumbs on the joystick and the face buttons, and then have your index fingers on the shoulder buttons, and super easily hit everything you need. Having it out on a flat keyboard and having all the inputs was way worse. Yeah, so I'm pretty hyped about having this controller. I think it will facilitate recording stuff and playing stuff. I should also try Terraria with the controller. I'm not sure how the control scheme will be for that, because with keyboard and mouse, it basically requires a mouse. And not the laptop mouse, because my laptop doesn't have separate buttons and mouse pad. It just has a single blank thing for the mouse, and you tap it to click the mouse. You know, the left or right button. And that did not work in Terraria because you want to be able to move around while attacking. And obviously if you need to mouse to click the mouse button and swipe your finger to move the mouse cursor, you couldn't really do it simultaneously. So that game, I literally just like died constantly until I got myself a cheap wireless, plug-in USB mouse. Because like I was like, this is impossible. As soon as I got the mouse, I was like, oh, this is much easier. Because you can do things simultaneously. So I don't know what it would be on a control pad. I don't know if the mouse cursor is controlled by the joystick. It feels like that would be a little awkward because you can be so much more precise with the mouse, I think, than with a joystick. You know, like in Terraria, you're clicking on individual squares. But I should try it and find out. It might be comfortable. Because that game, I gotta say, that is a game that really gave me, like, the first time I played it, I ended up playing it for like 7 hours. And my wrist hurt so much the next day because I don't have a desk that I use my laptop as. I don't own one. So I was kind of playing it with my laptop in my lap, and the mouse sort of balanced on the edge of it, so my wrist was at like such a sharp angle that it was just so painful. If I was sitting at a desk or a table, it would obviously be fine. I'd have freedom of movement for the mouse. A controller, that would not be a problem since your hands remain on the controller in a fairly comfortable neutral position. This battle is like, it's boring but also difficult, which is amazing that that's possible, but somehow it is. Because it's like, yeah, these enemies are quite strong, no lie. Especially since like a bunch of them can use magic now, so we're just taking a lot of damage. And they can do like half our health and damage, so it's like, wow, you're definitely really powerful. But the map is just like, we're just walking along. It's not really engaging at all. It's just like, yep, we're still walking forwards. That's what we're doing. Fighting these little dragon things that are apparently called lesser demons. They look just like I think the gargoyles we fought before, they're just a recolor of that. And they are not particularly interesting. Especially since I really just want this map to be done so we can use the cannon. That's the cool thing. I'm gonna use Blaze 2 just to make sure we do at least 7 damage. I don't know if they resist magic at all, though. Excellent, excellent. Good job, cousin. Got rid of that guy. Oh, this is taking fucking forever. I don't think we can, yeah, we can lure this guy over. Hopefully Peter will be alright. Like, that guy, literally, he just shredded half our health, so that is pretty crazy. These lesser demons, they are no joke. You can just... Like, this is what I mean where, yeah, it's difficult to kill this thing. It requires, like, all of our units to pile on and attack it, but that's all we're doing, just piling on and standing here while we hit it, so it's not really interesting in any particular way. It's not cognitively engaging. I should probably save for MP for heals because Sarah's out, but also I want to kill this thing. I'm bored, I want to be done with the battle, okay? Honestly, you can tell which battles are the most boring in this game, based on which ones I start rambling on about completely unrelated things like my new wired controller. It's like, I bought a controller, guys! This battle isn't very interesting, but that is! Seriously though, I am hyped for it. You know, it's funny because, obviously for a lot of games, you know, the Switch Pro controller, much like the double Joy-Con, you know, when you attach the 2 Joy-Cons and make them the controller, like most game controllers, it has 2 joysticks, one on the left and one on the right. And for most games, like this is how this game is, with your right hand you're tapping the face buttons, and with your left hand you're controlling the joystick. The right joystick is often like a camera control button or something like that, which you're not using constantly. But it's, I have to say, having played like Breath of the Wild, oh great, this is, well I guess at least, well Blast 3 will do a lot though. We have so many magic using enemies now that it's honestly really tough. They can just do so much damage. But the, I find that with the 2 Joy-Cons, oh, this is sort of hard to describe because it's a visual thing, but so basically the Switch Pro controller, much like most other controllers I've seen, like for PlayStation or Xbox, it's essentially, like it's a trapezoid, right, where the bottom is wider than the top. Which makes sense because then your hands naturally sit with, you know, your fingers pointing inwards and the heels of your palms are outwards holding the controller. But the interesting thing is that when you attach the Joy-Cons to their, like, little controller holster thing, it's like this little controller frame you plug them into. If you have a Switch, you've seen it. It's actually not like that at all. It's square. So it is symmetrical, and the 2 Joy-Cons themselves, because they are intended to be able to be used separately as individual controllers, they're essentially mirror images of each other. So the face buttons are directly above or below, depending on which one you are looking at, the joystick. They're parallel. They're not, whereas on most controllers the joystick and the buttons are diagonal, right? And the funny thing is, using the right joystick, I actually find it much more comfortable for my hands. On a lot of standard game controllers, I find that using the right joystick tends to, I have to stretch my thumb far enough that it puts my wrist at an awkward angle. Whereas with the Joy-Con, because the controllers are rather small, you know, they have to attach to the system, it's a portable system, so that makes a certain amount of sense. Because they're so small, the joystick is really close to the face buttons. So it's really easy to use, so it's weird, but I actually find the 2 Joy-Cons a little easier to use than most game controllers. Oh nice, we finished this battle, finally, god. Here's our cutscene, here's our cannon. Rhode! Yes? You know about devices like this, right? Ben has a cannon and some dynamite here, can you remove those rocks? I mean, if it's an old-timey cannon, you just, like, light the wick on fire and then stand back, right? I don't know how much there is to it. Oh, okay, let me try. I think we should stand back. Rhode gets the dynamite from Ben. Stand back. Ready? We didn't stand very far back. Perfect! We can now go to North Parmecia! Glad you're so hyped, Astral. Wow, this cannon is great. Rhode is really enjoying the destructive power he now wields. I can attend the battles with this weapon. So yeah, this is how Rhode finally joins the party. Because the caravan is basically our headquarters, right? And if you recall from the first game, Nova was the advisor character and was always in the headquarters to help us manage our party. Well, that's Sir Astral's job in this game. Rhode was basically just doing it while we waited to get Sir Astral back. He's kind of like, if you've ever played the Persona games, it's like how, you know, you don't recruit the character who does like the scan and the maps and stuff until later, so someone else is doing it for that. Like how Teddy in the 4th game does that until you recruit, what's her name, Ritsu? So it's the same deal here. Rhodes is Teddy, and Sir Astral is Ritsu. Basically, but yeah. I also like how he says it, I can attend the battles, not I can fight with this weapon, I'll just attend them. You know, like they're a party or something, or a class. Ben, do you need this anymore? May I use it? Huh? I guess you can use it. Wow, now I can fight alongside you. Rode the... Bergen? Oh, yeah, I looked this up. It's Brass Gunner. Which is interesting because in the first game that was an enemy type, so he's like our equivalent of that. He's the gunner, has joined the force, and that's who can use the silver tank, the promotion item. Please call me when you need my help. So now our party has even more people. Rhode is hooked! Ha ha! Astral, I'm glad that you find it so amusing that this guy is obsessed with blowing things up. Okay, Ben, let's go north to Parmecia. I guess first let's at least say hi to our new friend. But yeah, you can see that Astral is now... When we left Grans and he joined us, he was in charge of the caravan, and it's official. His attack is definitely very good. His defenses are good. He's not very fast. He's level 4, so... Oh, that's right. It's not that he uses the tank. This is what you become when you use the tank. I think that the silver tank promotion item, maybe it's for archers? Because my guess is he's a promoted class. Otherwise his stats would not be this high at normal level 4. So the implication would also seem to be that the game expects our characters to be around this level. So we are delaying promotion a lot more than the game expects. Which is, it's kind of weird that they made the promotion cap level 40. Because if you're expected to promote at this point in the game, you would never get there. I'm not going to have him join just yet, though. I may eventually replace Jaha. Oh, and there's another fight here. Well, I was going to record for another, like, 10, 15 minutes anyway, so sure. Oh, actually, no. Let's not do that because I have some dudes who are dead, so I want to res them. You can see that this map is probably going to take a bit. We're going to be just wandering around fighting things. These maps that are like semi in the dark, I find kind of irritating to play because every time I want to check where stuff is, I have to go slide the cursor over it. So it doesn't make it more difficult because it doesn't actually stop me from seeing things. It just makes it irritating. It's like the fact that you can't see movement ranges, you have to count. It doesn't make the game harder, it just makes it annoying. Now this is very interesting because this is the Dark Soldier, a new enemy type, but he's got a magic spell that doesn't seem to do anything. It just says magic. It doesn't list a cost. What the heck is it? How odd. Well, I guess we'll find out when we fight him. And for me, who's already really bad with maps and like directions and stuff, this just makes it harder to figure out where anything on the map is. I just am like completely lost. It's just annoying. But yeah, once it gets to Ben's turn, we'll egress. I honestly, seeing the little circle of light slide around this fast, also I find a little headache inducing. I don't know. I don't really like this format for levels. See, in Shining Force Sword of Hasia, they also have levels where it's in the dark, but I think it's done better because you can't just scroll around the map and look at everything. There's a couple things you can see, like where treasure chests are, but the map is literally just black. Until your characters walk over to a certain area, there's a radius that they can see in. So it actually does work as like, you know, you're creeping forward trying not to get caught by monsters that you cannot see. And the cursor does move around in the darkness and, like, you know, enemy turns are happening, so you kind of know that something is out there, but if I remember right, it's been a while since I played the game. But I just think that's done much better because it makes the darkness an actual meaningful obstacle. It's preventing you from seeing the map. You have no choice but to walk over and look at it, you know, reveal it if you want to find out what's there, but there's a risk that there could be a powerful monster. Whereas here, it doesn't really make the map more difficult, it just makes it annoying because you can see everything, you just have to take longer to do it. There's no, like, actual in-game penalty, only the real-life annoyance. So that's why I don't like the design terribly much. And it is done better in other Shining Force games. Like, my feeling is if you're gonna use darkness as an important element of the map, you need to actually make a map where the point of the map is that you can't see anything and you are sort of like groping your way through the darkness, trying not to run into anything, as opposed to just being like, it's gonna take you longer to look around because you have to move your cursor over every little square of it, but you can. And there's no penalty for doing so. Wow, it was already Ben's turn and I forgot to go back and I lost track of what I meant to do. Dang, those dudes are really strong. I am a little concerned that we're gonna run into the problem where the fact that we're delaying promotion way past when the game sort of assumes that you will may cause us some issues. Just with balance. Because this happened in the first one where the longer we waited, our stats actually did end up higher because we had waited to promote, but then when we promoted, they were reset back to like the level 1 promoted stats. So that first battle after I promoted everyone was really difficult, and I think it was much more difficult than the game intends because the game doesn't expect you to delay that far. So hopefully we will be able to get through this. If we have a couple of pre-promoted characters like Rhode, that will certainly help since obviously they won't be hit by any penalty that the rest of the characters are due to their lack of promotion. Okay, so we're gonna egress and heal everyone up before we do this battle. Chester is exhausted. Fortunately, it's still quite cheap to bring him back. Ben is really the only one you have to be careful to make sure he doesn't get killed, because then you lose like half your gold, which obviously sucks. And it sucks more the more you have, right? It's like you lost more of it. We have 50,000 gold right now, so we can revive every member of the force every fight if we really have to. It's not an obstacle. Oh, wow, we are all the way back here. You know what this makes me realize, though, which I didn't realize prior to this? What it makes me realize is that the game takes you back to the last town where you saved the game, not the last town where you just healed. Because we've been to the priest in other towns, right? We have. And I'm just gonna egress if possible, because this would be about the 5th time we fought this specific fight, which for some reason is refreshed every time you come back to this map. Is there any way for me to get out of here without running to that fight? If not, I'm just gonna... Maybe I'll just go to the right and maybe I can... I'm trying to see if there's some way we can get back without having to deal with this. Because I don't want to. The caravan apparently can't get there, but I think we can... Okay, this will be more backtracking, and I know it's like, maybe it would be shorter to just do the fight, but it will just fill me with rage. So, it won't actually be better. Because seriously, I've done that fight about 5 times. I think I just need to... I haven't been saving the game anywhere because I've been using save slots. So, yeah. And I had sort of assumed that egress would take me back to the last town where I had talked to the priest and done anything, including resin characters. But I think we can now conclude... We're back, though. Here we are. We can now conclude that actually it takes you to the last town where you saved. And we have not saved in a while, so I'm going to save the game in here. So that that will not happen again. Oh yeah, and you know, actually, this makes me think, when we left town, they hadn't built the place for the priest yet. He was just like in a little rug outside, but now they finished building it. It's very narrow, so it's a bit claustrophobic, but at least he's got a roof now. Okay, so now egress will be a bit better. And we've got all our characters back. So that is good. I'll carry on a little longer and at least get into the battle. My dryer always just tends to take a long time to finish drying everything. So I know that if I, like, go down there at exactly 40 minutes, I'm inevitably going to be waiting for, like, another 10 minutes or something because I underestimated how much time it would take. I think I've walked past where I needed to go somehow. Because it should have been, like, right up in here somewhere. The trial of this game for me is the world map. The world map is just... I've gotten lost so many times, over and over. Here we are. I think this is... Yeah, here we go. Alright, we have to fight this battle again? I was in the tunnel. Oh, I think it's because we, like, went to a completely different map. I wish the game would just stop refreshing the battles. Well, in that case, I actually will cut here because there's no reason to make you rewatch this boring-ass fight. At least we'll level up a bit. So I'll just go through this fight off-screen, and then we will come back next time back on the fight in the cave. It can't be helped, sadly. So, in this episode, we basically just... Well, the main thing we accomplished was blowing up that cave. And gaining Rhode as a brass gunner. The funny thing is, he's not actually riding around in a tank because the caravan isn't in battle, so I guess he's just, like, riding around on the back of the cannon. Or maybe he's pushing it? He'd have to be really strong to do that. But we got a new party member, so that's fun, and next time we'll fight our way through the dark cave and go to North Parmecia and hopefully figure out what the heck is going on with Zayon and how we can defeat him and stuff. But of course, most of this episode was really about a video game controller that I purchased because this battle was so boring that there was really nothing to say about it. The map is just, it's not a good map. But anyway, next time we'll hopefully get through the battle in the darkness, which is also a little annoying, and get back to the fun stuff. Until then, this has been Shining Force 2.